All right, it's Wednesday, March 6th. Getting started a little late here. It's 7:15 here in California. I was trying to log in right as the news was happening, so the lag was going crazy, and it was just taking everything longer to load. So it took me a little while to get started here. All right, so let's see what we're going to do. I've got 4 charts. 3 of them, or 2 of them, all the entries have worked entirely for the whole session. And 2 of them, there was one entry that didn't work like right at the beginning of the session. But there's been many entries that have worked since. So I can go ahead and trust them, I think. I'll start with an evaluation today as my first trade. I'll go with let's see. Go with 33 first. Another rough morning waking up. I don't think there's ever a morning that's easy for me to get up in time for the market. All right, so I do have one less active evaluation today because I blew 26 up yesterday. So I've got 6 active evaluations and 3 PAs. Sagar. Hi, Saggy. How you doing, Saggy? Hope you've been having a good morning trading so far. I'll be back to trading my normal style today where I'm taking a trade on an account and moving on to the next account. It's funny, if I had done that yesterday, I would have had at least 5 accounts that would have been profitable. But instead, I just concentrated on the one account just because it didn't seem like a reliable day for my strategy, but the strategy still held up. I mean, it was still at 75% yesterday. So it wasn't bad. And if I had done the normal thing where I'm spreading it out across accounts, 3 accounts would have taken a hit and 5 would have been green based on the trades I took. So it was kind of like a lesson of like, just stick with that, just keep doing that. How many PA accounts can I get at a time? Yeah, Saggy. So on Apex, they allow up to 20 PA accounts, and they don't have to be all the same size. You can see I have the 50K, and I also have two 25Ks, and then my evaluations I have 25Ks and 50Ks. But you could get any group of sizes you want, and you can actually have if you ever do get to 20 PA accounts, you can actually have more evaluations running at the same time, so that if let me see here. Yeah, so you can have more evaluations actually running at the same time too, so that if you do blow some PAs, you can just replace them right away with evaluations that you've already got going on. All right, so my first trade, I had to close the evaluation account manually that time. Just the leader got filled. All right, so 1-0 so far. Like that start. So I'm going to switch accounts. I'll go to my lowest PA next. P6. I like to always start with an evaluation just to like see that the charts are still holding up by the time I take my first trade, and then just hopefully that remains true as I continue on here. So he's about to have dinner right now. Nice, yeah. You're on the opposite side of the world right now, eating dinner, and I'm just trying to wake up over here. So yesterday was just a funny day. I was like thinking about a lot what I did in terms of just trading one account. I mean, I had 8 trades yesterday, 6 and 2, and blew up this account doing it that way. And it was kind of like a prime example of why I like to trade one account at a time and just rotate accounts. Because if I had just traded normally that way, I would have had 5 accounts that were green yesterday and 3 accounts that were red. So it's like debatable. Like, is it better that and also took more risks because I was trading this account. So, but it's debatable if it would be better getting red on 3 accounts but improving 5 accounts, because it's like who knows where those losses would have landed. Like it could have landed on my best PA that's closest to payout. Instead, what I did was I killed this account, but this account wasn't near passing, and it's not a PA. So I think I did the right thing yesterday for myself, just based on how the charts were performing. Let me see here. Try this. I wanted to take this, but it was a really, really large bar. So I was actually looking at another chart that maybe I could have taken it with a smaller bar. And then I missed it on that other chart. So it's just a really large risk. So I thought better of it. Looks like it would have worked. That's something that happens to me from time to time where it's like the same setup is happening on multiple charts. And I see like, oh, wait, it'd be better to take it on this chart for one reason or another, a different chart than what I'm on. And then by the time I try to switch it over for YouTube, I miss it. It's a little annoying, but yeah, that would have been a good trade. All right, so again, I don't know what's going on with my trade copier. That's not closing my follower accounts. It's too bad I closed it a little quickly because I could have got more out of it actually in that case. But at least I got the win there again. That one was on the PA account, so that was good. Let's see, I mean, it says I got 3.25 points. But I know I actually got more than that. I got 15 ticks, I think. It was just showing the leader account there, which is a sim account that I trade from. So trade 2. That was PA6. because I closed it manually, I think it has a different fill than the leader count. So I think it was plus 15 ticks, just based on the fact that I made $152, which is 160. You can see here, 160. So actually, 160, I think, would be 16 ticks. I think, if my math is right. All right, got my stats updated. So now I'll switch off PA6 and I'll go back to another evaluation. But I need to update the days I'm trading on these accounts. So 33, it's the 4th day. This would be the 12th day. So I'll go back to an evaluation now. I'll go to 35. All right, I got hit there. I moved it below this signal bar, or below this bar, just in case, to have a little extra room. But clearly that one didn't work out. It's always weird when it goes up, tags me, and then comes back down on the same bar. All right, so that will be a chart that I no longer trade with. Glad it came on the evaluation it did. And this may be a case where it's like, you know, on evaluations, I toy with the idea of just not using stops and just trying to work out of it if it doesn't work in my favor. I think I'll be more likely to do that once I have a PA or two pay out. So something for me to do in the future. I guess actually my arrow's in the wrong place. All right, so I'll move on from Eval 35. And it's always the hard part after taking a loss to then go back to a PA. I'll go to PA 7. This week, NQ is flat. New York session, not great moves. Yeah, I mean, I think after reaching all-time highs, here's the daily chart. So I think after reaching all-time highs, and even it's all-time highs, new all-time highs, new all-time highs. So I think it's always like going to kind of like hit a new all-time high and then flatten out and then try to do it again, flatten out until something changes, in my opinion. Can you tell me what is the profit target for a PA account that's a 50K? Yeah, profit target on the evaluation is going to be 3,000. So 53,000. And on the PA account, it's 2,600 to be able to request a payout. when you lose more. When you win small. Yeah, that's unfortunately because I'm a scalper. Unfortunately, I'm trying to get, my risk is bigger than my reward. So, unfortunately, took a hit on a PA. But again, the key for me is that I have such a high win rate that my theory, and this is all just an experiment, but my theory is because I'm spreading out the risk between accounts, that it's fine to take a hit and take a loss, and I'll just move on to a different account and be moving forward other accounts, and then I'll come back to these accounts another time, and that way the accounts are going to absorb the losses over, spread out over different accounts. Meanwhile, other accounts should advance, and we'll see if that works for me to get me to payouts and pass more evaluations and whatnot. But it's true. I'm definitely always risking more than what my reward is. So that's the first time an entry has not worked on this chart. So I won't be using that chart anymore. So I'm down to, it looks like another chart of mine didn't work in the same spot there. So I'm down to one chart left. So I'm going to switch back to another evaluation. Let's see. I'll go to 27. And go back to this chart. So yeah, I mean, I got to update my stats here. All right, so I got the win there. I got 4 points on that one, so 16 ticks. All right. So I'm 3 and 2 for the day, 60%, 13 and 4 for the week, 76%, 117 and 28 overall for the year, 81%. So, you know, on average, I'm about 80%. So 8 out of 10 trades, I win. So when you think about it, and if I have 10 accounts, let's say, I think I have 9 currently that are active. But if I have 10 accounts and I get 8 wins out of 10, then 8 accounts are going to be positive for the day on average, and 2 will be red. Is just how it works out. So if you're doing that every day and it gets dispersed between the different accounts, my theory, and it's just a theory because I just started doing this in the last couple of weeks, is that if every day I'm getting wins on 8 of the 10 accounts and then the losses get absorbed, and so I'm moving 8 accounts forward while 2 accounts get set back, but then the next day those accounts are unlikely to get the loss again. So as you move over time, the random distribution of where the losses lay into the accounts is my risk management strategy. So it's not so much about the risk I put on per trade individually. I'm more playing a risk management game with the accounts themselves, and we'll see where it gets me. You know, so far, it's working pretty well for me overall. Today, I've got 2 losses, so we'll see if I can avoid any further. If the math will hold up. I have lost 4 charts that I've used. I'm down to 1 chart left that I'm using currently. So the opportunities are less unless I find myself another chart to trade off of. But I am going to go to PA2 next. That's my next account to trade. And I'm going to trust the math that when I take my next trade, I should get a winner. So I'm not so much concerned about the number of the loss here, because I've got plenty of drawdown. Here as well, I've got plenty of drawdown. And so I'm never going to blow an account on any one trade. And typically I won't blow an account on any single day unless I'm doing what I did yesterday. So there's always another day to bring these accounts back. But meanwhile, I've now got the majority of the accounts I've traded in the green and on its way towards the profit goal. So, essentially this account and this account just switched places in the last couple of days is all that happened today with this loss. And I'm sure I'll bring this right back up. So I'm not too worried about it. Things are kind of playing out according to my plan. The next trade I take will make me nervous because this is going to be my prize possession PA account, PA2, which is the closest to a payout. So I definitely, obviously, don't want to take a loss on it, but I've got to trust my system. And my system is to take every second entry on a chart that has no entries that have not worked. So that is currently this chart. And I'm going to continue looking to see if there's any other charts that I could play that are going to be like that as well. Yeah, basically what I'm saying is it's a numbers game. And so my system gives me volume of trades that I've never had before in my trading and a high winning percentage. So those two things combined, I'm trying to apply to Apex accounts to see if it helps propel me to be able to get payouts and pass evaluations and start churning out accounts. And I would just say that it's very streaky the way I'm trading. So it's like there will be days where it looks like I'm taking awful trades and I'm getting 8 wins in a row. And then there will be days where it looks like I'm taking good trades and I'll get losses. And I will be taking trades that are counter trend. So you could see here, I had 2 counter trend trades that work. But then there will be those times where I take a counter trend trade like I did here, and it's not going to work. So but I'm not skipping trades. For the most part, if I have a second entry, I'm taking it. So let's see. I mean, this was only a second entry by 1 tick here. So maybe I have to consider when that happens. Maybe I can feel differently about it. I'll have to see how things play out over time. But right now, I'm not changing anything. I'll accept the losses. They don't get to me. They're just part of the system. There's going to be losses, and I know that. All right, so now I'm just looking on other charts to see if I can add any charts to what I'm trading on today. So I trade only NQ, and I'm just looking for other size tick charts that are consistently working today for my profit target. This feels like a risky trade to take on my best PA, but the chart's been running good, and if it triggers, then I'm going to go with it. All right. So took a hit. Is what it is. I gotta go with my system, and I used to have rules to not take a trade here, but I've seen so many times when it works that I can't skip it. So at this point, I don't have any other charts to trade. And this is definitely, let's see. It's definitely one of my worst performing days trading the system so far. So I guess I got to take it for what it is, which is, days like this are going to happen. So going to be a bit further away from the target. Bit of a setback. But I live to fight another day. Let me update my stats here. Of course, it's disappointing. To be 3-3 is not a great day, and to take losses on 2 of the PA accounts. Even though I've got green on 3 accounts, and 3 red accounts, it definitely feels more of like a red day than a green day for sure. Or even flat day. Definitely feels like a losing day today. So that's a bummer. But I gotta just trust my system, and that's what this trade was. Didn't work out this time, but it's worked out so many times so far that I just gotta accept it and move on. All right, so I'm going to continue spending a little bit more time looking for if there's any other charts I can trade today. It's entirely possible that this is going to be the end of the line for me today, the way this is looking. But I would like to continue because I do have 2 more evaluation accounts that I would like to continue trading with, and get a trade on all of the accounts. I actually just found one. So let me bring this up on the YouTube side. And if this chart holds up, I'll go with evaluation 29 next. You know, just thinking about that last trade I took, you know, when I used to apply rules to my trades, I would have skipped this, but I'd skip so many, but I would have skipped this just because it's going into the opening price. And I know that that often plays resistance, and I was already seeing it playing resistance prior. But you know, this is also a situation where as I move down the road, and eventually I'm going to start trading without stops. This is probably going to be a situation where this is going to end up going higher, I think. But it wiped out the stops down here first before it's going to go, I think. It's entirely possible this is just going to turn down from here also. But I have a hunch that this will ultimately get to where I would have needed it to get to. So once I have some payouts, I'm going to be able to also apply a little bit more aggressive style to what I'm doing, which is something I was kind of testing out yesterday as well, on the one evaluation I blew up, which is why I blew it up yesterday. So we'll see how things go here. I'm going to be trading this chart potentially. And I'll just go from there. It's interesting, you know, today started off as a 2-0 day. So I've gone 1 and 3 after my first 2 trades. So that's kind of a first for me trading this system where I've seen it play out that way. Usually it's been the other way for me, where I'll start off 0 and 1 or 0 and 2, and then I'll go on a streak of 6 wins in a row or something like that. it'll be interesting to see what happens here because I'm trying to see if this is correct. First entry, second entry. Going back to my last loss, I mean, I think I probably, where is it? I probably could and should skip it. Just my old rules are always to not trade into these things, like trade into the opening price, which is this white dashed line. It's bars are stacked up. It's trading into that. I had a belief we were going to retest this high, so I went with it. And it was a first entry, second entry. So every single time there was a second entry on this chart, it worked. So I just leaned forward and trusted my system here. But there's definitely an argument I can make. There's only so many trades that happen like this, that happen into like a obvious place where there could be resistance. And so, I could skip that trade. I'm trying to just take every trade because that's the system that I see works best. That's when I get the most trades, and that's when I can go on these streaks of like 8-0, and they can be like terrible looking trades and they all work. So I have to think about that if in these situations I want to skip them. The thing is, you end up skipping something like this. When you skip it, it of course will work, and then you'll take what you think looks like a better trade next, and that'll be the one that doesn't work. So it's all a mind game. No system is perfect. There's going to be losses. So, yeah, but I'm human, and it sucks to see 3 accounts that are red today. And it's almost like, looking at it, it's almost like these green accounts don't even exist right now. It almost looks like everything to me is red. So, it's a bummer, especially because taking a loss on this account that was only 600 away from payout, and now it's 1,100 away. So, I'm gonna have to build that back up. But the great thing is tomorrow I'll come back. Everything will be zeros, white numbers, and it'll just be a starting point of where things are at the day, and you just move forward and do the same system, and hope that if you do get any losses, that they get distributed into different accounts, or that you just don't even get losses. I've had plenty of days where I haven't had losses. So, going to stay positive and hope that this strategy will continue to work better than it has today and yesterday. And I've got a long history of trades at this point. Where am I at? Over 140 trades. So I'm right at 80%, which I think is kind of the low end of where I can be. But as more trades stack up, we'll see. I've definitely taken more losses recently than I had been earlier on. So we'll see if that continues, or if things get back to how they were, like when I was 4-0 on Monday, or last week, a week before last Monday, I was 8-0. And then I had some 7-2 days, 6-2 days. So nothing for me to get too worried about. I did. Let's see. Oh yeah, I want to go back to, I'm on the wrong chart now. So this is the chart I'm going to be following for now. if a trade comes up on this chart, I'll be trading evaluation 29 next. For anyone just joining me, I just found a new chart to trade on. So no trades are marked on this chart, but I am 3-3 today, as you can see here. So one trade on each account. All right. So for anyone just joining, the day started off pretty good. I was 2-0 to start the day. My first trade was here. See my loss on a third trade. And then, let's see. Here's where my second trade was. And my fourth trade is on this chart. And then on this chart, got a couple wins. Got a loss up here. And so every time I get a loss, I stop using that chart and find a new chart. So now looking at this chart. I'm just waiting for an entry. I've got two more accounts I can trade. So if this chart gives me an entry, I'm going to take it on evaluation 29 next. And if I get a win there, then I'll move on to account 31 and try to get a win on there. And it'll just be a matter of, can I get two more wins before one more loss? Because one more loss, I think is going to end my day, because I don't have any other charts unless I can continue to look for other size tick charts and find another one that I like. But once a tick chart gets a loss, I typically don't really go back to it. Although I'm seeing that the chart where I got this loss has a couple wins since then on it. So if I see it continue to win, maybe that would be a contender to trade again, because the whole chart, it's got all wins except for the one loss I took. It's always funny when I look back and the chart has every single second entry is a winner, except for the only one I took on the chart. Yeah, that's just bad timing. So we'll see. But I'm not concentrating on this chart right now. Right now I'm going to be concentrating on this chart. All right. So, I mean, I still have a belief that it's going to retest the high of the day. We'll see if it happens. Market's definitely slowed down a lot. And there's been no entries on this chart for me since I've turned it on or gone to it. You know, I was just kind of thinking and reflecting, and it's, you know, it's always interesting, you know, when you're trading and you're working on a new strategy, you know, there's always like the days where you get doubts and you want, so here it's going, here it's going for it. So, you know, I was hoping it was going to do it back here, but now it's doing it. So just the wrong timing for me. You know, if I was picking and choosing, I probably would have thought better of the trade I took. But actually, hold on here, because now I'm watching something. This is probably a bad idea. But again, it was an entry, and they've all worked so far. But I do have my own personal belief that we're going to test the high. So this is definitely not recommended, but I kind of impulsively took it. Looks like I'm going to get hit here. Let's see what happens. Definitely not my best day with the strategy. All right. So I'm just going to accept my losses today. All right. Let me update here. You know, it's funny. I just went to this chart, right? And it fit the requirements for me to take the trade. But again, it's another time where I had, in my own analysis, I'm thinking we're retesting the high, and I went against that and took this trade. And again, now I'm on the other side. So my last trade, I talked about how I usually wouldn't like to trade into the opening price because it could be resistance. And now I took a trade where, where was it here? Where I'm on the other side of it, and so it could be support. So let me just update things, because this looks like it's going to be the end of my day here on that note. All right, so I think I've updated everything actually. This would be 7 days. This would be 13. I'm gonna have to double check some of these later because I don't think I was updating all of these as I went. I don't remember if I updated this or not. I think I did. $27. I think I updated that. Anyway, so what I was saying is, when I'm in a day like today and I'm trying to work on a new strategy, and it's still very much in the testing phase. It's experimental, and it's experimental with what I'm doing, with how I'm trading across the Apex accounts one at a time. So on a day like today, now where I have 4 losses, I was just going to say 3 losses before, it's easy to like have these like major doubts about what you're doing. And the reality is I would never take a trade like this if I was using price action rules, but the reason I'm taking the trades is because I found there are days that happen where you'll take these trades and they win, and the whole chart will look like that. It'll be this kind of a trade 8 times in a row that will work, and you would never take that trade. So you would sit there all day and sometimes all week and not get any trades, or get a trade here and a trade there, and end the week with like 2 trades for the entire week. What I've noticed with this strategy is that there are days where these trades will work. This chart hadn't had a loss on it. Every single second entry had worked for this entire chart for my profit target until this trade. So it's the second, let me see. It's the 3rd chart of the day where my first trade on that chart that had not taken any entries for losses. Today, I happen to have 3 charts that I went to, and at the time that I took my first trade on the chart was the first time the chart took a loss for a second entry. So, it's just, today's like a day of bad timing for me. If I had chosen any other entry on these charts prior to the entries I took, they would have been winners. So, and some days it's like, I forget, the other day there was a couple of trades where, for one reason or another, I wasn't on that chart when it took a loss, even though I had the chart up and was following it, because I was working on a different chart at the time where I actually got a win. And so there's times where just in this system, there's some luck involved, right? And so there's going to be some days where I'm dodging losses that I should have had. And then there's going to be days like today where it's like, I'm just going to have the unfortunate luck of like taking a trade right when the chart loses for the first time in the entire session. And, I think that's something that, it hurts, but it's not devastating. And the reason why it's not devastating is because look at today. Today I had 4 losses. Well, if I took 4 losses on any of these accounts, the account would be blown up. So all of these accounts that I took a loss on, yeah, it's a setback, but they're not blown up. I can continue moving forward with them tomorrow and the days to come. And I haven't done anything devastating to them. So it's a setback on 4 accounts, yes. But on the bright side, I was also able to take advantage of the 3 wins. And so it's just interesting because yesterday I decided to trade all of my trades on only account 26 because the charts were going bad on me right away. Today, the charts didn't start going bad until later in the day. But I just, every time they took a losing entry, it just happened that I actually was on that chart and taking that entry at that time as well. So the timing was bad. But yesterday, I was 6-8 or 6-2. So 6 wins out of 8 trades. And I blew up the account. I was playing a little bit looser with it since it was an evaluation I didn't care too much about. So I was moving stops and things on a couple of trades. But But yesterday I could have improved 6 accounts and 2 accounts would have lost. And if I'm being more realistic about it, because one of the trades I won, I actually moved the stop. It would have taken me out. So I really would have been 5 wins and 3 losses yesterday. So, I really got to think about what I'm doing, because yesterday, on a day that I didn't trust my system, I really could have improved 5 accounts yesterday, and taken a hit on 3. And who knows where the 3 losses would have landed, right? Today, I trusted my system, and I only improved 3 accounts, and I took a hit on 4. So, if I trusted my system a little bit more, I guess the point I'm trying to say is, yesterday I could have had 5 accounts that were propelled forward towards the targets, while 3 accounts would have taken a hit. Would have left these accounts in a better position today overall, where I'm only getting 3 accounts being moved forward. Who knows how they would have randomly landed in comparison to which ones moved forward yesterday, but it's entirely possible that the ones that took a hit yesterday could have gotten improved today, and the ones that didn't take a hit, took a hit today, and it would have balanced out. So in a way, it is all kind of a lesson to me that I just have to trust my system and let it play out how it's going to play out. Yesterday, I kind of took things in my own hands and said, okay, well, I'm willing to give up this account, but also, in hindsight, thinking about it, I have 1 less account now that I can spread out a loss to. And if this account was still alive and one of my losses landed on this account instead of on one of my PA accounts, for instance, who knows what the different order would have been. But it's 1 more account that could have absorbed a loss, as opposed to today, where I had 1 less account, and these accounts, anyway, I'm rambling, but I think you understand my point for anyone that's watching. So it really is just a lesson in trust my system. Like, today was not a good day for my system. Clearly, I was only 3 wins and 4 losses. So in terms of my entry system, this is my worst day since I've been trading this way and taking every entry on the good charts. My last worst day was 1 win and 2 loss day last Tuesday, a week ago. And so this has that trump because it's 3 wins and 4 losses. But out of the number of days where I've had successful days, the number of days where I've, had 7 accounts that were green versus like 1 or 2 accounts that were red, or days where I went 8-0, or days where I went 4-0, or, all those days, like, today is a blip. It's a blip in the big picture, and yesterday was a blip in the big picture as well. So those days are going to happen, and what I think I'm feeling good about is I'm getting really good at accepting my losses, and I think my system that I'm using now, which I refer to as the BS system, because my brother sparked the idea of it, and like the conception of the way I'm choosing the charts was my brother's idea. So I call it the brother system. But it's really BS in a lot of ways, because the fact of the matter is I'm spinning a roulette wheel, and it's going to be black or red, right? Or green or red. And that's what I'm doing. And I'm trying to take advantage of streaks, right? So if the chart is consistently moving enough for my target profit, then I'm betting on that chart that it's going to hit my profit target on the next X amount of entries I take. And so it's in a way, it's like kind of a funny, ridiculous way to trade, because I'm not analyzing, I'm not applying rules. And when I did apply rules, that it worked great. I mean, if you go back a few weeks and look when I was applying rules, I mean, most of my days I was having like 1-0 days, 2-0 days. I'd have like a 5-0 week kind of thing, or like a 6-1 week, or, that kind of thing. But ever since I switched just the last couple weeks and I've been taking every entry, I mean, you're seeing me getting, look, it's Wednesday and I've got 19 trades for the week already. So yeah, I'm taking more losses, especially this week. This is probably the most losses I've taken in a single week since I've been doing this. But I'm going to have those weeks, and I think the key for me is to just keep it in perspective and understand that this is something I'm testing and trying for the long run. And this is really, I'm only 3 months into this strategy, and I'm only a couple weeks in to just leaning in on the edge and seeing how it plays out. So, everyone that checks out these live streams or checks out my reviews is really just seeing something being tested that I haven't seen anyone else trade this way. I haven't seen anyone else picking multiple tick charts and saying, okay, here's the 4 different size tick charts I'm going to use today that I'll trade off of all of them. Some people will use like different size charts. A lot of people do it with time charts. They'll look at the 5-minute, the 15-minute, the 30-minute, the hour, but they'll only trade off of one chart that they trade off of. I'm trading off of 4 charts at a time, essentially, all NQ, and just different tick sizes, so that I'm getting the advantage of multiple entries at different times based on different sizes. And I'm just trusting that when the chart is continuously working for the profit target on second entries, I'm just taking the entries as they come. So there were even a couple entries I missed today that could have been winners that I didn't. There was one I didn't switch over fast enough and I missed it. So, there's always room for human error or missing something, or, these stats could have been a little bit different today. But they are what they are, and I accept it. And I think this system, what I was going to say was, this system helps me to not revenge trade or get upset or mad, because there is a bit of, if you want to refer to it as luck or refer to it as randomness, there's, because I'm not picking and choosing, and applying my own analysis to what entries I'm actually taking, it takes away the anger and frustration of being wrong, and like wanting to beat yourself up over it. And, when I apply my rules and then I take a loss, it's a lot harder to stomach. It's really like, oh man, how come I didn't see X, Y, and Z, things that could have kept me out of the losing trade. But now I take a trade like this and I go, okay, well, I was just trusting that every other entry had worked, even entries that look just as bad as this one, they worked. And so I'm trying it again. I think ultimately where I'm going to land is when I get in and around important areas like this. I mean, on a big day, a big movement, there's only so many areas where you're like up against, the opening price, for instance. And like this trade here, like I could have avoided this when I was applying my rules. I've noticed, this is just an observation I've made over time, but anytime you're trading right into a key area like the opening price, which is this white dotted line, or trading into the high of the day, or trading into the low of the day, or the previous close of the day, or the previous low of the day, those are like kind of key areas where you don't want to trade into them necessarily, because they could be support or resistance areas. So I know that. I said it when I was right before I entered this trade, okay, this is risky and I don't really feel good about taking this trade, especially on my PA account. That was the most important to me. That was the closest to a payout, because I'm trading right into that opening price. And so I think moving forward, I kind of seen this enough times where my observation is true enough that on charts like this, where the whole chart has worked for every second entry the entire time, on charts like this, well, if there's a place where it might and probably will lose for the first time, I think this is the area where it's going to happen. So I think it's great what I've been doing, leaning into just taking every entry, every second entry. But I think when I get into these areas, I got to say, no, I'm not going to enter these trades. And, you know, a great sign or warning sign of that for me too is the trade I took previous. This trade number 5. Now, this trade I do like for the exact same reason. This is actually trading against the key area. And so we had gone up to the opening price, and then there was a second entry that formed. It's engulfing, so I don't love that, but it formed it right off of the opening price and gave me enough of a resistance that it gave me my scalp target. And so I think these are the areas where if it's trading off of a level, those are the trades I definitely can take, win or lose. And then if it's trading into a level, especially right after it got rejected, if it's trading right back into that level, and I know it's a key level like this, maybe I just skip those trades. And I think that's kind of going to be the way I can move forward, because I was saying the whole time, I thought we were going to retest the high. So that's why I took the trade. And you can see it trapped out the longs, and then it trapped in the shorts. And now it's gone and propelled itself higher to new all-time highs again. Or, well, I guess it's not new all-time highs, is it? No, not new all-time highs, but propelling itself back towards the all-time highs. All right, I still got to record a review video and probably say a lot of the same things, but that's just my thoughts and I think how I can progress. And that's the thing. Anyone that's watching these videos, you're going to see me continue to modify and adjust what I'm doing. I am by no means trying to tell anybody that I know how to trade or that you should trade like me. I'm not trying to teach anybody to trade like me. This is something that's really new and different, and it's taking a concept from price action and you know, two-legged pullbacks. It's taking that concept but stripping away all of the rules, especially as Mac would teach them at price action trading system, stripping all of that away. And it's just about really trading the chart more than the individual entry. And I've had a lot of success with it over a lot of days and weeks. And then, you know, you run into these days and it's hard, especially, you know, putting it out there on YouTube. You know, I feel the pressure. I had someone that's been visiting the stream, you know, that's been commenting lately, Saggy. And, you know, he mentioned, you know, I think when you lose, your loss is more than when you win. Well, yeah, I'm a scalper. So that goes without saying that anyone that's scalping for small targets, their entries are largely going to be larger than, you know, their risk is going to be larger than their reward, unless they're just doing arbitrary stop losses, right? So there's kind of a few different ways to go about it. You can either use no stop loss, which, you know, you're risking your account in full on every trade, or you can use a bar as like a pivot point, and that's where you put your stop. And or you can just do it arbitrary and say, okay, if I'm going for 20 ticks, then I'm risking 20 ticks. But if you're going for 20 ticks and you're risking 20 ticks, you're going to lose 70 to 80% of the time, in my experience or observation. You know, it's going to be inverted. So I'm winning right now 80% of the trades. It's been higher. It's been, you know, like a day like today, it's much lower. Today is my, you know, lowest winning percentage, basically 43% out of the, you know, out of 7 trades. So, but you can see over the weeks and months so far in the overall trades, I've been at 80%. So I'm winning 8 out of 10 trades. So that's why I've gone to trading one account at a time and spreading it out, because the theory is if I can win 8 out of 10 accounts, 8 out of 10 accounts are improving, 2 accounts will get set back, and I'm not always going to get 10 trades a day. So it's not really going to be 2 losses every day, just by the math. And so even if I'm improving, you know, days where I'm 4-0 or 6-0 or 6-1, all those days are going to add up where multiple accounts are improving and very limited accounts are getting set back. So I just don't care right now about these losses, and the size of them. It doesn't mean anything. These accounts are all worth $30 each. Okay. This is $30. This is $30. This is $30. That's my risk. Okay. Now the PA accounts are more risk. They're the however much I spent on the evaluations. And sometimes it takes me more than 1 month for the evaluation. So it could be like $16 or $17 for the 90% off, plus another $30 for the 80% off on the second month, plus the lifetime fee, $140. So some of these accounts are probably, I'd say on average, $200 accounts, right? So I'm risking $200 on these accounts. I'm risking $30 mostly for these accounts. Sometimes I'm only risking $15 or $16 depending on when the 90% sales happen. So, it's just a different way of looking at it. And I know a lot of people aren't going to see it that way. They see these numbers and it's like, oh, if you add this all up, I'm down $1,870 today. But I'm not. All these accounts combined aren't worth $1,870, of my actual real money. And this money in the PA accounts is not real money until it's in my pocket. So even though I was $600, this is how I look at it. I was $600 away from a payout. Now I'm back to $1,100 away from a payout. But I'm not up $1,460 because the $1,400 doesn't exist until I make $1,100 more still. So I don't feel like I lost money. I just feel like I got further away from potentially getting money, if that makes sense. All right. I'm going to end it here. I do still have to record my review video. Some people like the shorter review videos instead of trying to watch the live stream or scroll through it or watch the whole live stream back since it's so long. So a lot of people will scroll through the live stream after watching my review just to see how the trades played out, I think. So anyway, that's going to be it. I'm going to get my review video prepped. Apex is running the 71% discount. You can use this code or any other. That's running until March 14th, I believe. And the evaluations are currently 3 days to pass. So all you need minimum is to trade for 3 trading days. And as long as you hit the profit target, you qualify for a PA account. And there's really no rules on the evaluations. You can do whatever you want to get there. The only rule is currently that you have to trade 3 days before it passes and that you hit the profit target for the size account that you choose. I think Apex is a great way to go. I think having the multiple accounts is a really good opportunity. And it's just all about your own trading style. There is the trailing drawdown, so that's the only other rule I should mention. So you just go to Apex's website and read about how the trailing drawdown works to make sure that you understand how that works. I do this live stream every day, so please come back and join if you're getting anything out of this. Like and subscribe if you will. And I was a little bit late today, but usually I'm on no later than 7. Today just happened to be high impact news right when I was getting on, and just the lag and everything was making my system run slow. So it took a little time to get everything set up to start the stream. Other than that, I think I have said it all. I'm happy to end this trading day and move forward to another one. And if you have any doubts about what I'm doing here, just go back and scroll, look through some of the recent days, and you'll see that doing the exact same thing, I've had stellar days with trades that look terrible, just as terrible as this trade. So it's just a matter of me continuing to do what I'm doing. And then I think there's a very limited subset of rules that I can apply where I just won't trade these areas, and that's what it'll come down to. I think I'll trade off the area. So if the price is moving into something like the opening price, and then it's a second entry and I can use it as resistance to take the trade, like this trade, I'll take it. If it's like this, where it's a first entry, second entry, right into what was just resistance clearly, and it was resistance over here. And just in general, the opening price a lot of times will act as resistance when it's coming from below it, and it'll act as support if it's coming from above it. Then I'll just stay out of these trades. And if it works, it works. And if it loses, I'll have avoided a trade. And I think that makes the most sense for me moving forward, because most of the time, most of the price action is going to be away from those levels anyway. So I can just take every trade in most of the chart. And then when it gets here, okay, that's where I pay attention and say, okay, this is the area where I'm going to override, kind of look at it like that. Like I'm going to override taking every entry on the chart, because if it's going to pick up a loss, this is likely where it's going to be, right? That's the thinking. So, yeah, that's it for me. Thanks for checking things out today, watching. It's probably for anyone that actually watched this whole thing or watched all these trades, it's probably a little bit hard to watch, because you're probably thinking like, why are you taking that trade? Like, why am I taking this trade, right? Bullish bar, broke through. I already was saying I was expecting a retest of the high at the very least. And, honestly, it was just gut instinctual, compulsive entry based on what I'm doing. I'm taking every entry on these charts, and this chart hadn't lost yet. And I said, okay, maybe it broke up and it'll be a false breakout. But I'm also saying that after a point of a breakout, when there's an entry below a bullish bar and you're going short, probably where you don't want to take an entry. I had a loss kind of somewhat similar yesterday. It was closer to the EMA. I realized I by accident somehow took off the EMA off these charts, so I got to fix that. But similar yesterday, where the EMA was like right below it. Well, instead of the EMA, now I had the opening price right below it. So it's a very similar kind of trade, and you can see it just looks like one leg up, and clearly, I think the momentum was up. So this is a bad trade, and at this point of the day, I could have skipped it. I was going to skip it, and I was like, you know what? At this point of the day, I'm already 3-3. I'll either be 4-3 or 3-4, and I got my answer. I'm 3-4. So again, the best thing about today is just not getting bent out of shape about the losses. And this was the hardest day yet for me in terms of like running this system and getting the most losses I've gotten in a single day. And I still don't feel like I used to feel when I was applying all my rules and analysis and taking just one loss and feeling horrible about it. Today I've got 4 losses, and there's something just about, it's like I don't have to take ownership over it, because I'm just doing what I'm supposed to do, which is take every entry. Now, like I just talked about, maybe I'm going to apply some limited rules and about these key areas, and then, see how that works out. But for now, I don't have to feel bad about it, because I'm just trading the way I'm supposed to, according to the system I decided to trade. And if I need to make adjustments, I will. All right, I've said it all. Thanks for watching. I'm going to be out of here. I'll be back tomorrow. I'd be shocked if I have another day like this tomorrow, but anything can happen, so we'll see. All right, thanks for watching, and check out my review video coming up in just a little while.